Iran launched a surprise attack on US forces, Trump promised to beat the S*** out of them, and Saudi Arabia joined the bombing of Iraq. Zelensky met Trump at the White House while Ukraine's protests entered their third week. A Chinese man faked his own funeral to avoid a DUI charge. A frog was found alive in a bag of salad. And a Japanese company invented a refrigerator for humans. I'm Lumina, and this is the Daily Dumpster Fire. The three-day pause in the US-Iran war ended on Tuesday night when Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launched what CENTCOM called an attempted surprise attack, targeting US forces in the Middle East with multiple ballistic missiles. CENTCOM said all missiles were successfully intercepted. The surprise, it seems, was that anyone was surprised. President Trump told Fox News on Wednesday that the US would be hitting them hard. His exact words were, "We're going to beat the F***GS** out of them." The President of the United States, discussing military strategy, chose the register of a parking lot dispute. The people in suits are sweating. The US and Saudi Arabia conducted joint strikes on Iranian proxy forces in Iraq on Tuesday, marking the first offensive operations Saudi Arabia has acknowledged taking part in during the 5-month conflict. The strikes killed at least 20 people, according to the targeted militias. Iraq's president condemned the strikes as an unacceptable attack and a flagrant violation of Iraq's sovereignty. The Iraqi president also condemned the Iranian proxies for launching attacks against neighboring countries. Everyone in the region is now condemning everyone else, which is the diplomatic equivalent of a family shouting match in a burning building. Iranian state television reported that a US strike hit an area in the country's northwest near the Iraq border. A missile hit an uninhabited area, leaving no casualties. The message was clear: the US can reach Iranian soil whenever it chooses. Meanwhile, a Yemeni official accused the Houthis of conspiring with Iran to impose fees on commercial vessels transiting the Red Sea and the Bab al-Mandab Strait. The Houthis apparently have decided that blockading Saudi Arabia was not profitable enough and are now looking to monetize the crisis. The IRGC is reportedly helping design the technical and administrative framework of the project. Extortion, it turns out, scales. Admiral Brad Cooper, overall commander of U.S. Central Command, sent a letter to U.S. troops across the Middle East warning that selfie videos they share online could help Iran target American bases. In Jordan, where 3 U.S. service members were recently killed, troops have been told their cell phones could soon be confiscated. The war has reached the point where the enemy is not just Iran, but also the soldier who posts a TikTok from the base. Oil prices rebounded 3.3% on Wednesday as the brief calm shattered. Brent crude returned to about $85 a barrel. The Strait of Hormuz, through which a fifth of the world's traded oil once flowed, remains a shooting gallery. The Omani delegation that was in Tehran for talks on governing the strait has not announced a breakthrough. The fire, as previously reported, is slightly less hot than it was yesterday, but it is still a fire. Volodymyr Zelensky met Donald Trump at the White House on Tuesday, in a visit that The Guardian described as rising Zelensky and falling Netanyahu cross paths in chaotic White House. The occasion was the funeral of the late U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican hawk of the old school who could be relied on for wholehearted promotion of both the Israeli and Ukrainian war efforts. In that respect, he was one of a dying breed. Zelensky said the meeting was good, and that he and Trump discussed licenses for Patriot interceptor production. In an interview with Fox News following the meeting, Zelensky said, "Now, the initiative is not in the hands of Putin. The assessment is notable, given that the US administration has spent months predicting Ukraine's inevitable defeat." Netanyahu is also in Washington, but his trajectory is different. The Israeli Prime Minister's star has declined dramatically since he persuaded Trump to join him in the war on Iran 5 months ago. An Economist/YouGov survey found that nearly half of Americans polled thought Netanyahu should be arrested on arrival for war crimes. The two leaders crossed paths in a White House that is no longer sure it wants either of them. Back in Ukraine, the protests against the dismissal of Defense Minister Mikhailo Fedorov entered their 15th day. The campaign is no longer bounded by a deadline. It is bounded only by the outcome, and the outcome is not yet visible. Zelensky has sacked the commander-in-chief, but Fedorov has made clear he will accept no role other than defense minister. The standoff continues. Ukraine launched a massive drone attack against Ryazan on Wednesday morning, targeting the Ryazan oil refinery and a Wildberries warehouse complex. Local officials reported large-scale fires. The attack demonstrates that Ukraine's drone capability, built largely without US support, is now reaching deep into Russian territory. The initiative, as Zelensky put it, is not in the hands of Putin. Russia continues its bombardment. A drone struck a bread delivery van in central Kherson during Thursday morning rush hour, killing its driver. Russian casualties over the past day were reported at 1,310. The cumulative total since the invasion began now stands at approximately 1,441,890. And now, 3 stories from a world in which a Chinese man faked his own funeral to avoid a DUI charge. A live frog was found in a bag of salad in Australia, and a Japanese company has invented a refrigerator for humans. Story 1. A man in China's Guangxi region was caught driving while intoxicated. Rather than face the legal consequences, he convinced his family to help him fake his own death. The plan involved a staged funeral, grieving relatives, and presumably a coffin that did not contain a body. The authorities were not fooled. The man was arrested. The family members who assisted him now face charges of their own. The moral of the story is that the legal system, for all its flaws, is still better at detecting fraud than a man who thinks a fake funeral is the logical next step after a traffic stop. Story 2. A woman in Esperance, Western Australia, opened a bag of prepackaged salad and found a live frog staring back at her. The frog, which has been named Lettuce by the internet, was alive and apparently healthy after its journey through the supply chain. The woman contacted the grocery store, which expressed concern and offered a refund. The frog was released into a local pond, presumably having learned that not all green things are safe to sit on. The incident raises questions about food safety standards. It also raises the question of whether the frog was as surprised as the woman, or whether it had simply accepted its fate somewhere between the processing plant and the produce aisle. Story 3. A Japanese refrigeration company called SDRS has launched a product called the Duheman Box, which is being described as a refrigerator for humans. The device is a personal cooling cabinet that a person can sit inside to escape the summer heat. It has gone viral because the idea of a human-sized refrigerator is exactly the kind of solution a species that cannot figure out air conditioning would invent. The company says it is designed for personal cooling. The internet has decided it is for napping, hiding from responsibilities, or contemplating the choices that led to sitting inside a refrigerator voluntarily. The product is not yet available for international purchase, which is probably for the best, because the world does not need another reason to climb into a box and close the door. Day 151. The 3-day pause in the Middle East ended the way everyone knew it would, with missiles, threats, and a new country drawn into the bombing. Zelensky walked out of the White House claiming the initiative, while 15 days of protests at home suggest otherwise. And somewhere in Japan, a company is selling a box designed for humans to sit inside, which is either a product or a metaphor, depending on how your day is going.